All right, guys. What's up? That was certainly a Thursday night football game. That was certainly a game off a short week on the road where you're playing a division rival and you kind of suspect that funky stuff is going to happen. Funky stuff definitely happened. So we got a lot to talk about. Seahawks do get the win 23-20. They win it on a walk-off field goal with no time left. They blow a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. They definitely made that more stressful than it looked like it was going to be. But they do deliver the victory. And I've had a few people ask me to run the sleeper ad early in the video, so we're going to go ahead and try that now. So back in about 60 seconds. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Take a look on the left side of your screen. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on over there. Let's put together an entry for this weekend. Here is mine. I've got Bijan Robinson scoring an anytime touchdown. Atlanta's offense is due for a breakout after last week's tremendous disappointment, scoring 0 points. I got Micah Parsons getting at least half a sack against the Cowboys. How is he not going to get a sack in that game? It's a revenge game for him. I got Rome Odunze with at least 59 receiving yards. He's feeling it right now. He's going up against the Raiders. Think he's going to do well. And I got DK Metcalf after two relatively slow games, getting at least 51 yards. Pittsburgh's having trouble running the ball. Time for DK to bust a big play or two. Get on over to Sleeper, put together your entry. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit with promo code SBN. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So before I get into the details of this post-game discussion, because there's a lot to talk about, this is a very, very multifaceted game. There's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be really pulled apart. And it's hard to say that anything is just plain completely good or plain completely bad. I will say this. I'm going to give this team a lot of get-out-of-jail-free points for the way that game ended, because I understand division rival, on the road, short week. I get all of that. Weird stuff happens. You play sloppy. You make mistakes you don't usually make. And you blow a 14-point lead in the last, 10 minutes of the game? Something like that? Yeah. I didn't like watching it, but I'm going to just go ahead and say it right now. I get it. I understand it. And I'm going to I'm not going to completely kill the team for allowing it. But let's, where do we start? Where do we start with this one? Like, the defense, they're dominant basically the whole game. Those first 50 minutes, they are unstoppable. They're getting all kinds of pressure on Kyler. Although I did notice we had to blitz like crazy to get some of that pressure. I did notice that. So some of it had to be dialed up, which I wasn't really expecting. We didn't blitz Kyler a lot the last two times we played him with McDonald last year, but definitely saw a decent amount of that in this game. So that did leave us susceptible on the back end a little bit. But those first 50 minutes, man, Kyler couldn't do anything. Marvin Harrison Jr. clearly in his own head, can't get out of his own way. Trey McBride, very inefficient in this game, averages like not even 5 yards a target. Arizona couldn't really run the ball. They ran the ball okay, but then they kind of had to give up on it because it was one of those things where they just felt like there was urgency there constantly whenever they had the ball. So early in that game, man, everything was just locked in. I think that the Spoon was playing a good game. The linebackers, all three of them, I thought were good. Getting plenty of pressure. Uchenna Nwosu, welcome back. Like, so much good stuff in that first 50 minutes. And for me personally, a lot of what happened in the last 10 minutes was the Cardinals just making incredible plays. Like, Marvin Harrison Jr. makes an incredible catch on a perfectly thrown ball from Kyler, so that Devin Witherspoon, who has basically perfect coverage on Marvin Harrison, can't make a play on the ball. Like, Devin Witherspoon is there. You cannot cover better than that, and somehow that pass gets completed. Like, come on, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say at that point? You've got the fourth down conversion. Michael Wilson turns around and the ball is literally on top of him, and somehow, some way, he bounces it off his arm to himself for the catch. Like, come on. We got the pressure on that play. We forced Kyler to throw it a little bit before he wanted to, forced him to throw an imperfect pass, and we get what we want, and Michael Wilson catches it. Like, I can't trip. Some of the missed tackles, maybe. Losing contain on Kyler that one time for the 30-yard run. Okay. Maybe you can get on Spoon a little bit for that second touchdown to Demarcado, where he is in coverage, I guess. So, yeah, there's some stuff, but overall, man, this defense was dialed in for the most part. Leonard Williams, monstrous game. I thought Murphy played good. Mafe on a pitch count affected the game, I think, in a positive way. Like I said, Nwosu, we lose DeMarcus Lawrence, and I'm not saying that we didn't miss him a little bit. We probably did a little bit, but for the most part, we got by fine without him. There's something to be said for that. Kobe Bryant with the pick. I know he had the fumble, but I think he was very clearly down. I still don't know how that play stood. I still don't really understand that one. So Kobe with the other pick. Love had a couple plays on the ball. Should have had a pick right before half. So really, talking about this defense, and I know this is weird to say in a game where you gave up 2 touchdowns to almost blow the game in the last 10 minutes, the only real ire I have is directed at Riq Woolen. And this is getting to the point now where I don't know how much longer he has to actually even be out there. This isn't like previous years where Woolen's metrics and his numbers were really, really good, and all the coverage data told us he was incredible, but we saw stuff that we didn't like, so we didn't totally trust the data. This year, the data is bad too. He is getting beat. He can't stop committing penalties. It looks like he doesn't know how to play corner. He's not getting his head around on these balls. And it seems like defenses have kind of figured out that if they keep picking at that, he's going to make mistakes. Now, he's the guy that opposing referees are going to look at and go, well, we're going to really watch him for flags, and we're going to flag him for everything, because we've seen it now on tape multiple times that he can't stop grabbing and he can't stop committing penalties. So now we're just going to be watching it every single play, and we're going to get him where we wouldn't have necessarily gotten other players. That's the reality of the situation now. And I don't know if Woolen can get his way out of it at this point. So that is the one thing on this defense that is genuinely frustrating to me. I'm not saying there aren't little nitpicks. Like, I don't think Job had a very good game today. And the thing with Job, he's not Deion Sanders. He's not going to be able to keep that ultra high level of play going every single game. He's just not. There are going to be moments where he looks bad. There are going to be plays where he looks bad. There are going to be games where he looks bad. He's not talented enough to play at that ultra high level every single week. So that's whatever. I'm not tripping on that. But the Woolen thing, I'm sorry. This has gotten relatively untenable to me. And when Emenwari gets back, and I think that he will get back next week against Tampa, we have a decision to make. And I think that it's a hard decision, but it's also an easy decision. So that is the one thing on this defense that I do want to rag on. Other than that, I can live with pretty much everything tonight. Now, the offense, though, I can't say the same there. And what I will say is Darnold played real good. I think Darnold played a real good game. I know Walker had some very weird plays and some very frustrating plays, but I think Walker did play a good game overall. I think that Walker was a big positive for us in this one. JSN came alive at the end there, made some huge plays, including a game-winning play basically at the end to give us the opportunity to win before OT, and I did not want to see that game get to OT. And you can find a couple other players here and there, like the one thing I'll say about this game plan tonight, we got the tight ends involved early and often. Barner with 3 catches and a touchdown, Arroyo with 2 catches. We targeted Arroyo downfield in this game, which was not something we've seen yet. So that was the part of the game plan that I liked. We took a deep shot to Horton. I know he didn't catch it, but we took the shot to Horton. It was an accurately thrown ball, so that is something that you're going to continue to see integrated into this offense as time goes by. So that stuff, okay. But other than that, man, I got two big issues in this game offensively, and I can only go so far with the I'm giving the team a pass because of the short week thing. The offensive line, I think, was really rough tonight. I think this offensive line was bad. And it's not surprising, but it's still awful to see this team struggle to hold up against a Cardinals team that does not have BJ Ojulari or Walter Nolan. And it felt like they were losing the battle. And I felt like they were kind of losing the battle in the run game and in the pass game. There was no silver lining here. I think that Walker bailed them out because he had a couple of long carries that skewed his average. But there were so many plays where he was getting clobbered in the backfield. And the fact that we couldn't really take advantage of the fact that they were playing the run so aggressively goes to the other thing that I'm going to talk about here. The other thing that I'm really, really kind of down on right now is Clint Kubiak. I thought Kubiak was bad tonight. And he's shooting at 50% right now. We are talking about 2 good games, 2 bad games, and that's all we have to go on right now. I know he's not working with ideal personnel. I understand that. But there are some decisions in this game that I cannot pin just on the personnel. Red zone possession. Zach Charbonnet runs the ball into the end zone for a touchdown. It gets called back on a how should I put this? A pretty soft holding penalty on JSN. Okay. It's a soft call, but it's the call that they made. It's 1st and goal from the 13. This should not be that big of a deal. You run the ball, take a false start. I believe you run the ball again, and then you throw a bubble screen. Your quarterback is not Malik Willis here. You don't even have like a Tyrod Taylor quarterback. You have Sam Darnold. And I don't think Sam Darnold's a top 10 quarterback, but he is not by any stretch of the imagination so bad that you get into 1st and goal at the 13 and you never even give him an opportunity to make a play for a touchdown, especially the way he was playing. For the most part, he played really good tonight. He had the one really bad play where he holds onto the ball way too long and Cross gives up a strip sack because of it. Other than that, he was good. Why wouldn't you trust him to make a throw into the end zone and at least give him the opportunity to put up a game-ending 6? The game is over if we get a touchdown there, basically. And you don't even let him throw the ball within 15 yards of the end zone. You're throwing a bubble screen to Cooper Kupp on 3rd down. You're running the ball when you know your running blocking is not good on 2nd down. I think they ran it on 2nd down. But I remember coming away from that sequence feeling like they gave Darnold no opportunity to make a play. They didn't give JSN or Arroyo or Barner or Kupp or Bobo or Horton. They didn't give any of these guys a chance to make a play. And what's up with that? So I understand that he's probably a little bit afraid of the offensive line, but I have to ask why. At the end of the game there, we're in long field goal range, and we're so afraid of the offensive line giving up a sack that we run the ball to set up a 53-yard field goal, even though we know the run is unlikely to get anything because we can't run block. So we're just like, okay, 53-yard field goal to seal the win. Hopefully he makes it. And he didn't. And of course, we had a lot of drama at the end there because of it. Like, why are you playing for the 53-yarder? I know that he can make it and he should make it, but I have to ask why. So I think Kubiak was pretty bad. I don't get the pitches to JSN. I don't get turning JSN into a pseudo running back. Like, how do you not find a way to scheme him open before you even get to that point? Like, are you really so unable to get the ball in JSN's hands that you feel like you need to turn him into a running back? I don't know. I don't know. My initial thought after watching that first game against the Niners was that maybe Kubiak is calling the offense this way because he has zero trust in Darnold. But I don't think that can possibly be the reason after these last couple of games where Darnold has been good. And I think that he was good again tonight. So I don't think that that can possibly be the reason. And I don't know. It was a little bit frustrating tonight. The big one that people are probably going to be talking about for a while is first drive of the game. It's 4th and 1 or 4th and half a yard. You have 4th and half a yard at midfield, and you run shotgun draw with Charbonnet. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's Ryan Grubb stuff right there. You run the tush push with AJ Barner every time. You run the tush push with AJ Barner 100 times out of 100, and a few times you don't get it, and it's okay. I can live with that. But the AJ Barner tush push is nigh unstoppable. How do you stop a team from getting half a yard on an AJ Barner tush push? The answer is you don't. So that was absurd that we actually shotgun draw to Zach Charbonnet on a play that important, on a play of that nature. It was not 4th and a yard and a half. It was 4th and probably half a yard. Horton made a great play to get it to that point. And it's little things like that. I know it's just one play call, but you ruin a promising drive and you give the Cardinals great field position, which they eventually got a field goal out of, which certainly mattered at the end of the game because of that misplay. So those are the two things. And for the offensive line, I have to believe things are going to get better as the season goes on, as these guys continue to integrate with each other. But I do believe that the Kubiak thing, I don't know. Like we're not even asking for him to be a wizard here. I'm not asking him to be Sean McVay. I just want him to be competent. And tonight I saw a decent amount of incompetence. I think he got bailed out by Darnold and JSN, making that big-time throw. And that's the one thing I'll say about the way this game ended that I like. We got to see Darnold come through in that game on the line at the end of the fourth quarter situation, because that's what I talked about a bit in the offseason. Will we miss Geno Smith in those situations? And in week 1, I think we did. But this week, Darnold actually made a nice throw. Great play by JSN, probably even better than the throw, and got us into field goal range. And shout out to Chad Ryland. We couldn't have done it without you, man. Chad Ryland, you are the man tonight. Had to get that out of the way before I ended the video. I'll see you guys soon in stream. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. But 3-1, baby.